All right, here we go. So taking a look at money multiplier, okay? Sounds great. Have some money, multiply it, make more money. It sounds on the surface awesome, okay? This is a very key concept in macroeconomics, okay? We use this when we're talking about banking and we talk about monetary policy. One of the ways that I start teaching this unit is I talk about the fractional reserve system. You don't really understand this unless you understand the fractional reserve system. The whole concept here is if banks had to hold every single bit of money that you gave them in their, at the bank physically itself, then money wouldn't multiply. It would just be essentially a place to store money. But that's not the case. The fractional reserve means they only need to keep a fraction. So right now it's like 10% in the US. So if you go and give a bank, deposit $100 in a bank, they're going to keep 10% of that, okay? But 90% of that they can use for like loans, okay? So they only need to have 10% on hand. So if everybody in the banks at Ultra all today rushed at the bank and everybody wanted their money back, they wouldn't have enough money on hand at least to pay for all that, okay? Because they only have a fraction of it, okay? So when we do a little game where we kind of play around with this to kind of see exactly, kind of buying a bunch of different things, but the idea is if you just think about it, if you're required to reserve less, then that allows you to multiply the money more. If you're required to reserve more, you multiply the money less. Like I said, if your required reserve ratio was 100%, you couldn't multiply at all. You'd just be holding on to it. Okay. If it was 0, you could just be throwing money left and right, having loans like crazy. So within there is your required reserve ratio, which looks just like what your spending multiplier. Okay, so it's the exact same math. So once you get that down, this becomes relatively easy. So the first thing we do is there's two concepts here. When the Fed buys and sells bonds, and then also when you deposit money into a bank. But right now we're just trying to figure out the multiplier. So if the required reserve ratio is 0.1, what is the multiplier? Okay. Now, if you think about it logically, what multiplier should be higher? Well, it should be, which one? Think about it. Should it be 0.1 or 0.9? It's going to be one of the extremes. It should be, think about it, it should be 0.1, because that 0.1 means 10%. Okay? This is 10%, 20%, 50%, 80%, and 90%. Okay? So the lower the required reserve ratio, the more that money is going to ripple effect and multiply in the economy. Okay? So this right here, and an easy way to kind of figure this out, is if you're like, oh, fractions, I don't know, I don't have a calculator. Try multiplying it by 10. So 1 over 0.1, if you multiply by 10, multiply by 10, okay? Then you would have 10 over 1, okay? 10 over 1. So, and then your multiplier here is 10. So I'm going to step out of the way and see if you can get the rest. Did you get it? I hope so. Let's see. So your math right here, and I'm just going to give you the numbers, and we'll play with this more in the next video. You're right here. If you got it, this should be 5. This should be 2. This right here should be 1.25, and this should be 1.11. So that's the first thing we need, okay? And then we're going to play with them next round, okay? Until next time.